Everybody, welcome to You Gonna Be Alright Podcast.
You gonna be alright, man.
It's taken us a while. We probably should have had video of me having meltdowns. This is about the 6th time we set this up in different ways.
Right.
This is our first setup, so bear with us.
I think it looks awesome.
And there's a cool American flag. And then there's Steven.
What's up, y'all?
Russell Labordi.
That's me.
You can't see her. She didn't want to be on camera because she thought she was ugly today. Is Rachel Labordi, my wife. I am Gene, or is formerly known as BFG. I dropped the BFG because that was a different time, different place.
Yeah, well, we've had an event since then.
We have had an event since then.
Yeah.
But once again, this is You Gonna Be Aight Podcast.
You be alright, man. You be alright.
Brought to you by AML Media. Love you, Mom. It's AML Media for our late mother, Alberta Marie Labordi, who basically did sponsor us our whole life. So
Unofficially.
she had to. I think legally you have to sponsor your children, but she did a really good job doing it.
There's ways around that, actually, but
Yeah, I don't know. She didn't want to do that. She loved us. She was totally
a little bit.
She
yeah.
totally was cool for us. But we are doing this podcast for lethargic reasons.
No, cathartic.
Cathartic. I always get the word wrong.
That's okay.
But we're doing this for. This is what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be on radio, but that's like you gotta like really. You gotta
You
move
go to fucking school to do that.
and you gotta move to like New York or something. Like I'm not gonna do Pittsburgh radio and like.
Yeah,
I would, but I'm not gonna. That's if I'm gonna chase a dream, it's not gonna be Pittsburgh radio.
Right.
But the dream can be You Be Aight Podcast.
You be alright, man. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's do a little. So, Steven is my older brother.
6 years the senior.
6 years, even though I'm the biggest brother. Why don't you tell us? I think if there's a couple people that will start to listen to this, they'll know a little bit more about me than they would.
Probably
you.
have to retell some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Since this is like a pilot.
Well, and this could be one of those things where, like, 4 years down the line, someone's like, "Dude, I want to watch the first episode."
I've watched.
That's how I watch podcasts.
Haven't you watched pilot episodes of TV shows before? It's Always
example.
Sunny.
Yeah, exactly.
Without Frank.
So, Steven, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe touch on our family, a little of our roots and things like that.
I'll do that. So we're gonna get into everything.
That is one
That's
thing.
why we're doing this.
We're going to be very honest.
No holds barred.
Yeah, because that's, I think, what people want to hear.
You got to meet the people where they're at.
And I think that's where humor really comes from. And for us, I think humor has always been, I don't want to say our defense, but it's kind of our defense.
Just how we live.
Yeah, it's just really like it's always been prominent. It doesn't cost any money to have humor in your life.
Correct. Right. And our mom, our late mother, was actually the funny one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's who, I mean, since a little kid.
Right.
Like, I got to stay up late to watch SNL back in the good old days. She'd get done waitressing. We'd watch SNL, and, like, she would go to, even in her last days, went to stand up with us and stuff, so.
Right. Right. It's just a stress ball of a woman that was funny. I don't know if she was even trying.
Yeah, I think the anxiety. Sometimes
Right.
people are the funniest when they're not trying, and she was the perfect example of that.
Definitely.
But you'll hear a million stories about her.
Let me tell the story about the origin story of the You Be Aight podcast.
Yes, good place to start.
About my 5th trip to rehab.
Which,
Sober 6 years.
yeah, I would want to start that. I'm fat, he's sober.
Right.
And but no, it changed our whole family's dynamic when Steven got sober, obviously.
Things got heavy. Things were heavy.
It got a little crazy there for a while.
Still are heavy. They're always heavy.
Yeah, but so 6, probably getting close to 7?
No, 6 this October.
Okay.
So a month ago. Yeah. Not that great with the months. But about 5-ish years ago, 6-ish years ago, whatever we want to go with, I was in another rehab, a nice facility. Really, one of the nicer facilities I was in. And in the detox unit, which when you go to rehab, you have to go to detox first for most drugs. Okay? Alcohol, drugs, I was all about all of it, okay? In a bad way. But
You like to dabble with a little bit of everything.
Little bit.
Nothing of the crazy hard stuff, though.
No.
Never intravenous.
No. I got close there.
Got
at the
close,
end.
but
we could talk about that.
But either way, yeah.
First off, we got to talk about. We're from Philadelphia.
We're from Philadelphia. We're from the suburbs of Philadelphia, which I think is important because we didn't grow up with crackheads. We grew up with people that had just enough money to become bad drug addicts.
To be middle class.
Yeah, middle class to maybe upper middle class sometimes. So in that realm there.
Right. A little background about kind of our status.
Yeah.
Growing up, what we're used to.
Weren't poor, never needed for things, but we definitely weren't rich.
No.
Yeah, we struggled. My mom was the breadwinner.
Just a worker.
Yeah, just workaholic, really.
Right. She's the man, but we'll talk about that.
But yeah, so I think that's important because I tell people I'm from Philly, but like
they think like grit, street kid.
We didn't live on the row homes that people imagine. I think sometimes we were in neighborhoods, but and it's all over the country.
Philly has a reputation these days, though, so it is important to clear up.
Yeah.
That we're not street urchins.
Yeah, we didn't grow up in Kensington.
But if we wanted to go to Kensington, it was a 15, 20-minute drive.
So, and we had, once again, like just enough money to get yourself in trouble. Right. But so
let me finish the story.
Fifth rehab.
It's not the craziest story, but it's a good...
Funny.
It's a good insight into who I am. Okay? So my fifth rehab, I believe, in the detox unit, I get... my room, and they were nice rooms, and my roommate, great kid, okay, or probably close to the same age. I think his name, I feel bad because, when someone's like a Latin descent, I'm thinking like Juan.
But also you're in the throes of like, what the fuck's going on with my life?
Yeah.
So in detox too, like, doesn't it seem like it's just a blur a lot of the times, right?
It depends how bad off you are, but it's definitely not smooth sailing. You're in the waiting room, like before they officially intake you, and there's some girl in a chair with a blanket, and her hair's all fucked up, and she's crying, and there's snot running out of her nose, and her mom's there, like, aged 40 years in the last 20, but good people. Anyway, my roommate, we're gonna call him Juan, okay? You grew up actually like 10 minutes down the street from us. And, we get to our basic introductions. I'm Steve. At this point, you're medicated. So you're even keeled. What I mean? You're not in there like throwing up shit in your pants. Like, you can breathe.
Does time feel like it's moving fast or slow?
Well, when I was in rehab or in detox, it was for alcohol and opiates. So I was on a nice little blend of... a benzodiazepam or something like that. Some form of Xanax. Everybody knows what Xanax is.
So that's what I call time traveling a little bit, right?
Yeah, you go in and out.
Yeah.
Like when you get up in the morning and you get your dose, you usually get a couple doses a day. Mm-hmm. But like you'll be playing cards and chopping it up with the other detoxers. I can't explain how influential that whole process has been in my life.
And here's the thing, too. It's drug abuse and stuff is so rampant that a lot of people kind of, if they weren't there, they've had stories of knowing what it's like.
You would think so.
Yeah, I guess with our circle.
You've talked to me about people you've worked with who
True.
are just total
it's very
JOs.
True.
You know what I mean? Who still think...
Which listen to the podcast, but like, life's hard, so calm down a little bit.
Right. Or you know what? Fuck them. Don't listen to them.
But so back to Juan.
Yeah, okay. Try number 3 to finish the story.
Told you the time flies. It's fine.
Yeah. So the kid, after we do our basic introductions, the room is 2 beds and a bathroom. And for a detox, this is ritzy.
That's a nice setup.
You know what I mean? Because usually it's like 4 to 6 people in a room.
And you were in some bad places in like center Philly.
Yeah, we talk about all that.
Yeah.
But so Juan tells me that he's schizophrenic.
And so this is his umpteenth time telling this story, but I just need to, the way that when he delivers goes, it's so nonchalant, like, hey, my name's Juan, what's going on? I'm schizophrenic. Yes. Like, it's just like, it's like saying someone
but
like.
This is how you should address these kind of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, very friendly, but very jovial. Just like, hey man, welcome to the room, so to speak. Like he was welcoming, and he's like, I just want you to know that I'm schizophrenic, so you won't really notice, but for some reason, when I am in the bathroom and I take showers, voices kind of like talk to me, but they're funny, and they make me laugh. And at this point in my life, I'd run in all kinds of characters, so I took it in stride. You know what I mean?
At least he told you, and you weren't just sleeping one night. It's like, I'm going to get a shower, and you're like, what the fuck's going on in there?
Right. Right. Well, so I'm, how do you respond to that?
No,
these are the things life throws at you.
All right, cool, man.
But the way he said it, he made it pretty clear that I was in no danger.
I find it awesome. Like, could you imagine every time you get a shower, you're like, I'm about to have the best sitcom going on in my life.
Yeah.
Just to get in there and be like, holy shit, that's funny as fuck.
I was a little jealous. Once, when you first hear something like that, you're kind of like, okay, well.
But then
we'll
you hear him in there.
But then, yeah, he liked to shower.
Of course.
And he would get a nice, hot, long shower, which when you're in detox, I mean, a nice hot shower feels good because you don't feel great the whole time.
Yeah, any little enjoyment.
So, right. Well, this dude loved a hot shower, and I'd be in the room, and he'd be laughing hysterically in the bathroom.
Damn, that's good times.
Great times, okay? And I was jealous a little bit, like you were saying.
Because you're struggling. You're like, what the fuck am I doing with myself?
And the shower wasn't doing for me what it was for him.
Yeah.
So anyway, we get to talk. We become best friends, okay? Because this dude is awesome. Anyway, so, during one thing you do in detox rehab is tell your stories to people.
That's all you got, really, right? That's your currency.
Some people are full of
some
shit
people,
too.
I'm everywhere. There's they want a one-uppy.
Right, but when this guy tells you he's schizophrenic off the bat, you could pretty much trust what he's saying. But
then he tells you how he got schizophrenic, right?
Yes, from a blast of crack cocaine, and he said literally, he took the blast, which is smoking it, whatever, and he instantly heard train whistles, a bunch of pressure in his head, and that day forward, he started hearing voices. So kids, don't
do crack, but
just don't do it.
Yeah, because we're joking, but don't do it.
Well, he had a history.
Well, yeah, I'm sure
mental illness, and this blast of crack triggered it. Bang.
Yeah, because I'm assuming this wasn't his. You don't just smoke crack the first time.
No, just got coffee.
That like every drug addict, they just keep pushing it.
You progress
because they want to get more of the chase the dragon, if you will.
Well, I can't really talk about crack. That's one drug I never delved
into. Never really
into.
Wanted to.
No, well, I don't think anybody starts off saying I really want to do crack.
Yeah, well, in like the 70s and 80s.
Well,
but either way, but
yeah. So I haven't actually gotten to the reason of the podcast. So,
I can't shut up.
So he's telling me, one of his life, like his slogans, something that the guys tell each other in jail, around, his neighborhood or whatever, is no matter what happens to somebody in life, no matter what they got going on, it's kind of like fun, but also true to just say, you be aight, man.
You be aight, man.
Which is... It seems
so, and you were saying it for a while. So there you go. That's
the
even the short, long story of it, because it's
a great way to look at life and the struggles.
And it's also one of those things.
It's true.
That it's true. I think I seen this thing the other day. One of the, I think it was like Tom Hanks or something was like, this too shall pass. Good times, bad times, this too shall pass.
It's like an updated version of this too shall pass.
But, let's talk about the blue collar version. It's like, you be aight, man. You're not going to be great, but you're going to be aight.
You're going to survive this.
Yeah.
And I wish we could all meet my friend Juan, because for somebody who took a blast of crack and became schizophrenic on the spot, this dude was so positive about just his interactions with people. And he's one of those guys where you're like, it's really a shame that this dude's struggling with addiction.
Because he could.
He's otherwise.
You want him in the world.
He's someone you would want as a friend,
Yeah.
addicted or not. But I'm saying, not often do people make it out of these places
With a positive, yeah. I mean, there is a lot of people.
And I just found it funny as shit that this guy who fucked himself up in an instant was just like,
I
you
did
be
this
aight,
to
man.
myself, but you'd be all right, man.
You're gonna be alright.
But on the double, other end of that sword, if every time you got a shower was like the funniest comedy you've ever seen.
You could see how he was positive about some things. Yes.
Dude, today sucked. My boss was reaming me. Fucking girlfriend left me, but I'm about to get like a 3-hour shower.
Right. Right. It's easy to see how.
But that is, we'll call that I don't want to say theme, but that is the soul of the podcast is
open book here.
Oh yeah, we haven't, in the scheme of things, we haven't had like terrible things happen to us. Everyone has hardships, but the You Be Aight, when we were talking about we got to finally do a podcast,
Talking about it forever.
Yeah,
We're a little late.
yeah, exactly. But we finally got to a point where like, well, what are we going to call it? How are we going to label it? But still be open enough. And my version of You Be Aight is I get a little bit of a temper sometimes.
A little bit.
And with having an older brother, like a lot of people out there, like when we were younger, I always had stomach issues. I always had tummy aches.
Still has them.
Yes, we'll talk. We'll get into all
We could
that.
do
7
episodes.
series about my stomach problems.
There's so many stories that I hope you're willing to tell in this
I'll
podcast.
tell all of them.
One of them happened behind me. Do you know what story I'm talking about?
Which one?
Where your balls couldn't fit.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that one.
Yeah, I
forgot about that.
That's a great story, man.
But no, it's to get back to it was when I was younger. I always had stomach problems, and like Steven, I think sometimes would think he's just trying to get out of something or trying to get out of school, and he would go, "Why don't you just sit on the toilet?"
Just go sit on the toilet.
And I would be like, "Fuck you, dude! My stomach hurts, and I was just sit on the toilet." And I'm like, "You mother," and it's the same thing with before I even knew this story for a while. I'd be down the dumps, pissed off about stubbing my toe or some dumb shit. And he'd be like, "You be all right, man." I go, "Why don't you shut the fuck up? How about that?"
It's well,
but then
it bothers you at first, but then you kind of pick up the flag and run with it.
Yeah, and then 5 minutes later, you go, "Fuck, I am gonna be all right." Fine.
By the way, go sit on the toilet thing came from my grandmother on my father's side. She would literally tell you to go sit on the toilet for a little bit,
and that was, I feel like, an old. Timey thing. Well, luckily,
what was also a thing
the
in her
enemas.
day? The enema.
That's where I feel like
everybody.
I think we had a progressive grandmother because I know some people that they didn't want to say they were sick around their grandma because she was like, "I'm ready." The grandmas wanted to do some enemas, looking for talent.
Kind of looking for talent. There's multiple ways to find talent.
Yeah, but
the weekly enema for the kids is one way.
So that's a quick. Not quick. That's an intro to the show a little bit about
us.
I
feel like I introduced something here.
Yeah.
Let's hear about.
Well, so I did
brother.
it in this order. I did Steven, and then I did Rachel.
Did we?
Rachel, have you even said anything yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, well, make sure you speak up. Rachel is my lovely wife. Rachel's the tech person. She's got this camera is just a ballin' ass iPhone right now.
Yeah,
she literally can.
She's an actual photographer, though.
Yeah, she's good at stuff. She's literally can do a little bit of everything.
We couldn't really do this without her.
No,
because I don't know how to use the internet good.
Oh, you definitely. But yeah, it would just be me motherfucking for like 7 days.
Bashing things.
Yeah, I would have broken a table by now. But anyway, Rachel B. Labordi used to be Rachel Davies. She used to hate her middle name.
Really? Davies?
Davies, yeah. Bakri. Anything you want to say about yourself besides just sitting behind the computer making sure the audio's going?
Well, she's going to look stuff up.
She is, yeah. She's going to be she's our producer.
She is the producer.
She is the producer. She does good stuff.
She knows how to do that stuff good.
She made the website, social media.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Smart at doing things. Me and Steven can't write. Our handwriting looks like we have
Yeah.
special needs,
It's
so she
really
has to
bad.
do all of her handwritings.
I think I might have the most jobs here.
You
But
definitely do.
Definitely have the most
I always
jobs.
give you props.
Yeah, and side hustles. She's a little hustler. Like she used to. I always imagine being Rachel's mom's friend when Rachel was like 6, 7, 8 that year, that age time. You'd go over and she would just mix lip creams and sparkly stuff and sell it as beauty products. So like
Rachel.
little hustler.
Yeah. See, I
lot
don't
of
have
lotions.
that.
Lotions. She would just mix 3 lotions together and be like, this is Rachel's special blend. So you'd go over to her house just to hang out with your friend, Rachel's mom, and then all of a sudden
She's
this little
selling
kid
you.
comes out with a briefcase going like, it's a $40 lotion.
Rachel, from stories she told, she really liked to role play a little bit. She was a witch.
She was an only child is really what a lot of
Yeah, I had to get creative.
not even
to
just an
entertain
only
myself.
child. She had older brothers.
Let's talk about the fact that her father is an Indonesian
Her father
Muslim.
grew up in Indonesia most of his life and worked a cruise ship, which is like kind of getting the best job you can
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
there. Solid ass dude. Really cool. But yeah, grew up third world nation, so like you have to respect certain things about it. But so Rachel has brothers that are like 30 years older than her. So not only did she have 2 parents in the household that was like, playing into the little kid games,
Right.
but also had an older brother that was a full-grown adult playing
So he
into
just
those
went
little
along
kid
with it.
games.
Nobody to be like, no, this isn't.
Yeah, like you would check me. If I was doing something like, dude, shut up, that's corny. No one wants to buy your lotions.
I'm not a terrible person, but yeah, I mean,
Well, no, that's what
6
you,
years older,
especially as a boy. Well,
you gotta trim some of the silliness.
yeah, a little too early, but no, Rachel
Probably.
had like 3 people going like, oh yeah, you made lotions and a candle that you put a sticker on, and then that's what you do
Yeah.
with little kids. You can't just be like, I don't want your damn lotion, kid. You gotta be like, fine, I guess I'm paying $15 for sparkly lotion that I'll never use.
Right.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to have a lot of really supportive people supporting my
Well,
business.
This is an important thing, I think, to talk about, is that our childhood was not really that kind of environment.
So the way I look at it is, we were very practical.
Pragmatic, yes.
Yeah, so like it wasn't that our mom or dad ever like stopped us from doing things, but also
There was no
we were never
time.
told like, yeah, you probably can do anything you want.
Yeah, that
It
wasn't
was
a
just
message
like,
in our
I mean,
house.
when I was like 10, I was like, guess I'm just gonna like go into sales because that's what people do.
Right. Well, like I said earlier, I used to call Mom the man.
The man,
Because she
rule
was
follower.
rule following, line tower. Fuck your dreams. Like, what are dreams?
Yeah, and it wasn't
There's reasons.
mean out of it. It was
No,
just like,
this was her viewpoint.
you got to like pay bills and stuff. So like, okay, be a kid, but you're going to probably either just like, and it wasn't even like you have to go to college, you have to do this.
No.
It was like, yeah, but like as soon as you need money, you have to start working, kind of.
Right.
But she did allow us, and she always told me, as long as like in high school, if I played a sport, she didn't like demand me to get a job.
No.
She knew how good like football. We both played football at a pretty high level in high school.
Let your kids play football.
Yeah, don't.
Okay? It's character building.
You learn.
You need to learn how to be a team
I
player.
get
in
if they're
this
not
world.
a football build, maybe not, but like.
No, football accepts all builds. That's the
Yeah,
beauty of
yeah.
football.
But there's
Unless
some,
you got a
there's
wheelchair or
skinny neck.
something.
There's like skinny neck kids out there that it's just like.
Well, you'll find out the hard way.
yeah,
Where you
but
are.
either way,
Sports in general. team
she just
sports.
kind of was like in high school. We didn't have to get a job, but you are going to do.
Or you're busy.
You have to. Yeah, you have to stay busy.
And we would, I don't know how much time we would need to really get into everything. But our
Most
dad
people
was not a
Oh yeah. Well, that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our dad was.
not a dad.
I love the man. He was a little bit better in my life than he was with Steven. But yeah, he went. He rode motorcycles and sold meth for a little bit in part of his life.
When
And
I
then-
was a small child.
And then
was
then
really-
Oxycontin became popular. So we'll
Do the
leave it
math.
at that for now.
Yeah, do the
We're gonna
math.
tell all. We're not afraid to tell it. It's just
We don't- yeah, there's only
we're
so much
establishing
time.
a baseline. So, sorry, off on a tangent from Rachel. Rachel came from a really good family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her mom is cool. She's in the medical field. Very smart lady. Obviously raised a strong, business-minded woman that's got a real mouth on
She's got
her.
a mouth.
No, I'm just kidding. She's actually doesn't have a mouth, but she can be a little bitch sometimes.
I don't want to hear that.
That's just part
See?
of marriage, guys. That's just part
We've been married for
Uh-oh.
2018, June 2018. So do the math. That's 4 years, 4.5, getting close to 4.5 years now.
Yep.
Been together for 11, 10.
10.
Yeah, somewhere
Best-
around there.
Best man at the wedding.
Best man at the wedding. Glad I did it. I got lucky.
Better be glad.
Guys, I need help. No, but yes, that's Rachel. She's not, we're the talent. She's just the do stuffer.
Yeah, it's hard for me to
She's
get a
really
word
the
in
nut-
over here.
She's really the nuts and bolts that make the thing go.
You didn't want to be in it. I would have put you a little seat right here. I wouldn't let you in the camera because you're hideous. I'll tell you what, my wife. I'm just kidding.
My wife.
I'm leaving. I'm
She's
done.
way out of my league. But yeah, so then I brought her in. I'm going to talk about her a little bit, just quick on me. Basically the same story as Steven. I just never got real deep into drugs. I went to a small private Catholic school to play lacrosse there. That's where I met Rachel.
Graduated college.
I did graduate college.
Well, pretty impressive for
I did it on social skills, not as much as my wits. I did try though.
That's
I did,
part of life. Man.
Yeah, I did
That's okay.
try. I did the whole I'm gonna go and be in corporate America and climb the ladder. I did that for 6 years, some along
About
there.
the same as I did. About 6 years in the cubicle.
And I was playing the game, but then I got bought out of my position that I got promoted to. Then COVID hit, and then I was like, screw this. Opened up, me and my wife, kind of a small little passion project. We opened up Eco Thrift. It is a thrift store. We focus on environmental friendly. It's one of our sponsors.
It is the only sponsor.
Just because I work there, I own it. So Eco Thrift.
Yeah.
Done a little bit of open mic stand up. I truly love stand up. It's just I learned in Pittsburgh.
It's rough.
It's not the best way to. It's not even to get exposure. It's just.
It's a real grind. All the stand-up comedians out there, people don't respect how much of a grind
It truly is.
and shithole it is.
Like, especially if you're trying to work a normal job, to
awful.
stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning and then stand in the corner of a bar with just a microphone, like not even on a stage.
If you're lucky, it's a bar. It might be an
Yeah.
Italian restaurant.
Yeah, so, and then,
It might be a
to learn that,
buffet.
like, the guy who's the host of the mic is just trying to bang this fat chick. Anyway,
okay.
that's my
Let's just
bitterness
move
coming
past
out.
her.
Yeah, move past it. I love stand-up.
You be all right.
I love stand-up.
You
I'll
be all
right.
right.
But yeah, so from here in my notes, I just kind of put a little bit about our family.
So let me talk a little bit more about where this whole thing came together.
Mm-hmm.
So our mom passed over the summer, okay, and this was obviously a landmark event in my life. So when my mom got super sick, right after your wedding, really, we knew it was bad. We didn't know how bad, but it ended up being pancreatic cancer. You know, survivors out there, there aren't many with the pancreatic cancer.
Not really survivors of that disease.
And, you know, so,
it's just how long you get with it is basically.
Right, and I want to be an open book. I don't know if I want to go there right now. I just say there are reasons you get pancreatic cancer at.
And she would. She said it at the end.
She was not a sharer of feelings and
She
thoughts.
worked her ass off literally since she was 13. And then it was weird because it was later in her life.
that she started to
She
drink.
started
I
drinking.
guess we're talking about it.
Yeah, we'll have to talk. We said we're going to be an
It
open
really
book.
is the roots of the podcast idea and the
And-
things we want to talk.
There's been a lot of people, I guess since I've learned about it, I've noticed, like, famous people, like, who was the dude who did Jeopardy? Alex Trebek? He died, and he died quick of it. Like, our mom outlasted him.
2 years, really?
Yeah, 3.5 when from diagnosis to it.
Does it?
But regardless, when something like that, genetics are involved, but you do it to yourself a little bit.
Right.
And she
Accepted,
wasn't proud of it, but like you've said, at the end, well, even not even at the end, when she found out the diagnosis, she stopped drinking and got herself back. So she...
Yeah, and that was when I went back home. In my mind, since I had the ability to, I was married, I don't have kids, I thought, if this is the way she's going to go out, she's going to have to do it in front of me. And thank God she stopped drinking. And it's tragic that she took something like that, but that's how serious we should really make clear. That's how serious this addiction thing is. Okay, and when you grow up with it, in my pops, and then later in life my mom, like,
Yeah, because really in the household, she had like the smallest addiction.
Well, smallest in terms of what people on the outside would say.
Because
like,
she
just drank.
went to work every day.
Right.
She ran a household.
She was the shit. Yeah.
And I mean, she was the glue. She kept the family together, especially where she came from.
Yeah, her mother abandoned her and her
from-
siblings at a.
She was
very
like
13ish, I think.
Yeah.
So she was really a mom from
She
that
became a
age.
mom when she was 12 and raised basically all her siblings. And she did have a good stepfather, but he just, back in those days, you had to work 60
tile.
hours.
He laid tile.
He laid tile.
Which is
did
tile layers?
Hard work. And for them to live comfortably, but she did the household stuff.
But anywho, so as we're getting close to the end, she always made us promise that we would stay close, which we've always been close relationship-wise, but not necessarily geographically. I mean, Pennsylvania's a big state, okay? And Pittsburgh...
It's close to a 6-hour trip. I mean, like, you really can do it faster, but when you're saying packing from beginning to end, it's a whole day event. And
the turnpike's
I
boring.
loved, like, my vacations for 10 years have just been going back to Philly and my mom being like, you're going to be the king while you're here at my house.
And that was her wheelhouse. That's what she was best at, was feeding us. By the way,
obviously,
when I graduated high school, okay, I got a lot of stuff, okay. When I graduated high school, I weighed like 410 pounds, okay. Long story short, I got the old snip staple, the stomach staple, gastric bypass at 18 years old.
Which, once again, a shout out to mom.
Yeah.
At that age, she had to call congressmen, get a lot of people to sign off for you to get that, because
it was not normal then.
No, not at all. No. And it was
changed my entire life.
Yeah.
As significantly as getting sober has changed everything. Losing 200 pounds and keeping it off.
Losing a fat person off of you.
Yeah, man.
You lost a fat person off of you.
And if we
have the stat, I forget what it is. I sent you
like
that
5%.
Text. People who have gastric bypass and then, I guess we call it beat alcoholism, I forget how they worded it, is less than 5%. So to not only not put weight back on, but to get off the sauce is like a crazy, because a lot of people who get gastric bypass,
yeah, which is something I don't know if now when people meet a surgeon and talk about getting gastric bypass.
Well, I think it simply comes. It
genetic,
took you three, genetic, but it took you 3 beers to like.
You certainly, alcohol changes how it affects you changes after you've had that surgery.
Yeah, because I mean, $7 at a bar and you can be feeling good. Not $7, but
the point is made, and that definitely, you don't have to drink half as much to get toasted. Yeah. Okay, so where was I going with that? My mom always told us that we, to stay together, because we don't have a big family. It's just you and I, and our,
we have
spare
cousins and
tire.
aunts and uncles. It's just we're not Italian,
Yeah.
so we don't just
Irish
eat
folks.
bolognese every Sunday together.
I wish we did.
That would we're already fat. That'd be terrible. But no, like we have good family. We had Christmas parties and stuff like that. But really, when it boils down to things, you get older, people start separating. It's just always been us.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stems from So
I moved up here after my mom passed.
I've been established here for a while. Steven
I've been all over the place.
been all over the place and stayed home with my mom when she was
Really sick.
really sick for those last few years. And I went home in the summer for a couple months to help take care. She went on hospice. and then-
Everybody was all hands on deck at the end when she passed, and it's exactly what you would hope the scenario would be, right?
She got what she wanted. She came home.
We
and
went
was
whale
comfortable.
watching before, like
We
2
got
weeks.
She was so strong up until the end. So AML Media is why we call it that.
Respect it, okay?
Yeah,
Just
and there's going to be
respect
more to come. There's going to be spin-offs and stuff, but that is why there's AML Media. Alberta Marie Labordi,
Talk about it.
which is funny. She said when we were whale watching, she goes, Alberta Marie is a good name for a boat. And I was like, dude, if I get a boat, I'm naming Alberta Marie.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
That's a good boat name.
Yeah, so Steven's now in Pittsburgh. It's only been
A
2
week.
weeks.
I was here for
Yeah.
a week at your place. I've been in my apartment for, I think, 7 days.
Yeah, it's the 8th, and you moved in on the 1st.
Yeah. Fortunately, I've had plenty of experiences relocating, but this is the first time I wasn't with a girl or roommates in a rehab or halfway house, which halfway houses are a shit show, okay? But these experiences help mold a young, sober man, okay?
The way you talk about halfway houses,
Mostly
I
prison.
either go, I'm going to fucking do drugs because this sucks, or I'm going to go, I'm never touching that shit again because I have to come to another one of these motherfucking things.
Well,
college. But I guess you're sharing, so I'll share. I'm a large man.
get out of here.
I wasn't always this large. I did play a collegiate sport. What happened, and I think this is for a lot, I got into an office job. So all through college, I played sports and then worked physical labor in the summer.
All right.
So it's
And then
just
you
like
became a professional sitter.
you just eat what you want because I can. I drink beer and eat a whole pizza for dinner. But I had to walk 70 miles the next day. And then I got into an office for 6 years. And then it's just a bunch of women that are like, potluck tomorrow,
Right.
7 different types of mac and cheese and stuffing, and I was bagel guy. I love a good bagel.
Who
And I
doesn't?
didn't want to have to cook, so I was like, I'll do bagels.
And you can get a good bagel out here?
Yeah, Giant Eagle. I will say,
That's
here's the, I guess,
if you have to go to the grocery store to get a good bagel.
yeah, but you can do it quick. It's not terrible.
What about Brugger's?
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's a
true.
chain, but that's a good bagel.
No, that's a good bagel. I'm not hating. No, what I was gonna say is, when we talk about the Philly cheesesteak, I guess real quick, it's not the meat, it's not the cheese, it's simply just the bread. And my only problem with Pittsburgh, and it all has to, it's scientific apparently.
This is what they say.
It all has to do with the way the water reacts with the yeast when you're making pizza dough or a bagel, or the worst is hoagie rolls around here. That's my
Yeah.
thing. I can't, unless I go to the Bella's, I can't get a good hoagie roll.
They don't even call it a hoagie here, do they? Ever call it a submarine
they do.
sandwich?
No, that's
No,
more.
it's
I
a
think
hoagie here.
they call it a hoagie
Well,
here.
that's good.
But also a lot of times you'll be like, it'll be a hoagie cheesesteak, and it's like, if you put lettuce on my cheesesteak,
Right.
I will smack that on the ground.
Yeah. You're a tomato guy, but don't put lettuce and tomato on a cheesesteak. It's
Nah,
not a
cheesesteak is meat, cheese, and if you're feeling frisky, some onions, maybe some peppers.
Yeah.
Back to the story. Got fatter. I fatter. I was always fat. And then we bought this house, and this is referring to, I guess, me trying to poop down here was the story you were bringing up, right?
You could tell that story.
I mean, I
sure.
guess I'll give a poop. I have so many poop stories.
The kid's got a problem.
Since I've been a baby, I've had stomach issues. If a lot of people out there probably don't know, but it's something called a Pittsburgh toilet back in the cold days, mines and shit. There will be just a lot of houses have basements, and there will be a random toilet. Sometimes in houses will be like the center of a basement, and that was so like a guy would, the worker man would come home.
The worker man.
And he would be covered in soot and shit. So sometimes he would just have a hose literally to rinse off the stuff. But a lot of times...
I've never heard this. Okay, continue.
So
Rachel, you can attest to this?
Yeah, and ours is actually a nicer Pittsburgh
We have a
toilet because
nicer
there's a
Pittsburgh
stall
toilet.
around it. Normally there's not a stall around it.
Yeah, so...
It's just a toilet bowl in the middle of a room.
Like Ruffner's house, shout out little Andy, he's got like, it's not the middle, but I've pooped down there, and it's weird because you're in a whole open basement.
Yeah, dude, that's totally bizarre.
Yeah, but a lot of times these are, since that was so long ago, they'll just keep that toilet or replace it like 50 years ago, and then like just put concrete into the basement. So like that's the toilet that's going to be there until someone wants to do some real renovations. That's the case in our house. So it is, and I think most people out there probably would recognize, there's different shapes of toilets. There's the circle, which is literally just a circuit toilet bowl.
You schooled me into this, by the way.
Which is crazy because you were fat, so I figured you knew this.
I think I still, at 18, I still had the maneuverability, even with my round-ass body, to not notice it.
I guess, but also we always had,
Big
which the other one was the oval shape.
That's
toilet.
what I'm just saying. You clued me in. You're right. We did grow up with them, but I never noticed.
And I remember Dad saying, "You have an oval toilet there." And I was like, "Oh shit! I didn't even think about that." But so in the basement, it's kind of
it's called an elongated bowl.
Yeah, and then now there's the new ones that, if you're buying a toilet, get the ones that are, I think it's handicap approved because it's a little bit higher.
This kid knows toilets.
You got to, when you have a stomach problem since you were a child, you learn these. I'm the guy that has always, you ever go to an airport and you're like, who the fuck is shitting here?
Clothes off.
Yeah, it's me because I'm nervous and so that makes me have to poop even more.
Yeah, you definitely take after our mother.
I have my mother's stomach. I have her skin in her stomach. So
and her penchant for being stressed out.
Yeah, I run a little high. My RPMs are a little high. But so we have a circular
Rachel,
toilet.
You can attest to that?
Absolutely.
Okay, we just want to...
It's a little...
Next level.
Control.
It's not fun living this way, I'll tell you that much. So we have a toilet that's basically, I can't really replace it in the basement because it's like the concrete's built around it, kind of. It'd be a lot of work. It's only been a couple times, and I learned the hard way to just fucking hold it until I can go to my good bathroom, which is upstairs.
Beautiful
my
bathroom.
second floor, which I did replace and put an oval toilet there.
By himself.
Yeah, it took
We didn't
that.
learn a whole lot of stuff growing up. Our dad was kind of...
I knew how to do it, but yeah, I almost fought 3 Home Depot employees that day. But yeah, so long story short, I have a toilet down in the basement that I've only had to use in dire situations that, I'll put it this way.
Talk about it.
Try, you know how like there's little kid inner tubes in a pool? Like there's adult ones, people float around, but then there's like a little one for like a 4-year-old. Mm-hmm. Put a grown man on that and see if he floats. It just doesn't work. And that's the same way with this toilet down here. If I have to poop, I have to either
You have to make a choice.
Butthole to poop into the toilet, or my penis also involved to be able to pee. And like most people, I think when I poop, I pee. So in a
Not
very
at the same time, though, right?
Yeah, definitely at the same time.
Like
I do.
actively.
Yeah, when you're
coming
pushing,
out
you're
of
peeing.
both.
well, and it's not even pushing; it's just letting go. So,
Yeah, Rachel, you have great sphincter control if
well,
you don't pee
yeah,
or
and
poop.
your stuff's so close together,
It's
it doesn't.
not just all falling out.
Well, there's pushing involved. We don't have
Once
loose
again, I don't
buttholes.
have a great system. Regardless, in the matter of 3 to 7 seconds, I kind of shit on the toilet bowl, smushed a nut, and then pissed all over the floor because I spent 5 extra minutes trying to get into the house.
Yeah, and this story is made much funnier by the fact that your lovely wife witnessed it all. There was probably even eye contact.
Well, the funny thing about a lot of these stories is I have so many of them. You remember
The
a lot
deets.
of them more than I do.
Yeah, man.
Because I was hurting, and it's
Yeah,
like
what were you guys doing down here? Why were you in the basement trapped to begin with?
To be honest, I kind of black those memories out of my
She
brain. I
ha-
repress them so that I can still
She has to
love
function.
my
there is a
husband.
possibility that
You be alright, man. You be alright.
there's a possibility that we had company of, like, mom and dad could have been here, maybe.
My God.
There's a possibility you were in this room, and then just because you would stay in the basement.
Yeah, I like to hide.
There's a possibility that you were lingering around, and just by nonverbal communication with Rachel of just angry eyes of going, nobody can ever find out about this
Right.
until I do a podcast.
And tell the world. Well,
So,
a handful of people.
That's one of many poop
So the
stories
mental
you will
image-
hear.
The mental image of you trying to squeeze your nuts into a toilet seat and not being able to tuck them in and having to pee because you're obviously going to choose the bee hole.
The shit take priority.
Definitely.
Okay. And then I guess just the shape of me, my butthole to my penis, which, like, it's not the greatest penis. So, like, maybe if I had a really long dong, I could have made it work. But I don't have one of those.
Right. I know about that.
It's just, the realism of it.
Right. At some
So
point,
not
there's
only
a
was I
defeat.
shitting probably liquid, which most of my life is.
Right. So you
I
would-
also hurt my nuts, and any man out there, your stomach, immediately your stomach kind of hurts.
Right.
And then the anger of pissing just kind of
You would just pee
thrown
in like
out.
a t-shirt
So then,
or
it's all
something?
over my pants, that are at my ankles and on the floor, and Rachel's close enough in vicinity.
It's real life, man.
Yeah, the stall, to paint a better picture, is the exact width of my shoulders
Right.
when I do this.
So you're all jammed in the whole time. Everything
Yeah,
is getting
and
jammed.
so at that point, you almost want to, I can wipe on that toilet, but stuff's already, not shit, but piss is already in. So I go, I'm just taking all these clothes, immediately putting them into the washer, and I'm gonna go get a shower and take a nap and or kill myself.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The defeated look in your eyes must have been kind of like when you see a dog, you catch a dog shitting in the house.
No, you know what it is? It's a well-trained dog that can't not eat its own shit. And then you catch it, and he goes, I should have done better.
But this is happening.
But it happened.
Right. Yeah, when Rachel says she repressed that memory, I truly believe that.
I repress some of those memories.
Yeah, well, I'm here to bring it back out because
A lot of those I share with you. I mean, well, they're funny. I can't not tell somebody about that.
do you kind of regret that I wanted you to tell the story a little bit?
No. I mean, because I've had, I'm batting .998 with shits.
Meaning you're good at shitting? Because that would be a great batting average.
Yeah, I mean, there's only, as much as I poop,
You're doing pretty good.
I mean, I should have more accidents.
You've
than I
perfected
do.
the art of shitting, I imagine.
I mean, and I've perfected the art of cleaning public toilets, cleaning the ground. That's one thing people miss out on a lot.
Right.
knowing where to shit, the type of businesses that have good bathrooms.
There's so many levels to it.
It really is. And like, I even live my life, like I make myself try to shit anytime I leave my house, before I leave my house.
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb, I think.
But even
For
then,
anybody.
and it's not even like, you know, people are like, oh, I ate Taco Bell or I was eating wings last night. It's not really that. I'm a little bit lactose intolerant.
But still pound milk and cheese.
Not milk, cheese, but it's
dairy and everything.
It's an equation of dairy plus sugar. Right. I can drink a glass of milk, which is crazy, but ice cream will have me crying in a bedroom that needs to be close to a bathroom.
Probably still eat ice cream, what, once a month?
Yeah, I'm not a big sweets guy, so yeah, like every once in a while I get a craving. I'm more of Tasty Cakes Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I like
Candy
more, like
cakes,
if I
bro.
want sweets, a sweet treat like that, it's going to be a cakey brownie.
Yes.
Which is pretty rare because a small amount of that will solve me. But I'm like a little kid. I'm like, I want Skittles, Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, you like the fruity candies.
Yeah, Starburst.
Yeah, I'm a chocolate guy.
Which also, and it's funny because I've talked, is that, I know like, especially if you're an alcoholic and then get sober, your body still craves a shit ton of sugar.
I feel like I've always, I mean, again, it's
our
hard to picture, but I
family-
grew up a fat kid. I wasn't like I got fat. And
But
I,
we
like,
didn't have a lot of
sweet.
because
That's
we
because
were
our dad
fat
just hoarded them.
and hid
That's
them.
the truth. Man,
That
I
is
got
the
6
truth.
years on you, so I know some of these things better than you do. He would just hide this shit.
Yeah, and Mom used to get mad. She'd be like, "We have a cookie jar," and then Dad would just hide them because that's all he had. You know?
Yeah. That, I mean, my mom had repeated a million times how my dad was the kind of guy with 2 sons who would just finish the milk
Oh yeah,
and not
then
leave any for
wake
for the
up
kids.
and be like, you know, I'm gonna make cereal. Oh, now you guys get a piece of toast with half
Yeah.
of cheese.
I
on
don't
it.
know how major that is in the household, but that it was something that she really.
Let's put it this way: we were never underfed, but there was times where
The guy just took his eating.
whatever,
he-
and everything, whatever he wanted,
It's mine.
that's mine. And hiding stuff is, it's funny when I've told Rachel this, Rachel, you can contest, her dad forces food on people.
Well, he did grow up in a more impoverished environment.
And then also just to also be like in his family, like someone going hungry, which we never did, would be the most atrocious thing that could happen.
Right. But just the whole idea of the father of the house hoarding all the goodies and drinking all the milk, I guess, is a big thing because
He does love milk and cereal way more than me and you have ever.
the man has 4 boxes of cereal going at all times.
But yeah, it would simply come back like when we were children.
It's different when we're kids. Yeah. You
Yeah,
should
'cause
save
at
the milk.
4
Save the
o'clock-
milk for the kids.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, when he's like, I'm gonna have now 6 bowls of cereal.
Right.
And would crush the cereal down so he could fit more into his specific cereal bowl.
Yeah, but literally. Yeah.
And then on top of it, put a bunch of sweet and low on there because the cereal wasn't sweet.
Yeah, but yeah, he's like, I think the generation he from like Special K, like that's what he
which
wasn't
is
eating-
good, but he was like, I gotta step it. But he's that way with everything.
Yeah.
If he has a headache, he'll let it go till like aspirin doesn't help anymore.
All right.
But that's also the addict in him, I think, because like he'll have a simple headache, and I'm like, hey, why don't you drink some water and take an aspirin? He goes, no, I'm just gonna sit in my pain and wallow, and then make everyone do stuff for me.
Right. And then if it gets bad enough, he'll take like, instead of 2 aspirin, he'll take like 5.
Yeah, it's I
I'm
have
like
a little
that
bit. I have a
too.
little bit of a stomach ache. Oh, drink some Pepto. No, I'm gonna wait till it gets real bad. I'm gonna drink half a bottle of Pepto.
Yeah. Well, I've inherited a lot of that too. Like I don't drink a cup of coffee. I drink a pot of coffee.
No, which is I think we all self control hasn't been a strong point of our family.
No, I've had to learn some. It's
Which is
really-
funny because you've gone through so many things, but you still will fill your coffee up till the brim to the point of spilling, as a point of, like, you could put a 1 ounce less of coffee in a 16-ounce mug.
No, I'm gonna make a mess.
You're just like, yeah, and then I'm gonna put it in the microwave, and then also it boil over.
Right. And melt the coffee cup.
Melt the
apparently.
coffee cup.
I'm learning.
Yeah, that's a good point. It wasn't until Rachel beat it out of me that I was like, yeah, I just microwave things on styrofoam. If the styrofoam gets on the food a little bit,
Just peel it off.
you just peel it off.
Right.
Just a little cheese.
But the world's come a long way. We know what the chemicals and stuff are in these products now.
And I fought it for a while. I was like, what the BPA? Go suck itself.
Right.
Okay. This is so I don't have to do as many dishes as I was going to have to.
You were doing it for her, right?
Yeah, you weren't even doing the dishes though, so.
Oh, right.
Got a real mouth on
Guy
her.
wasn't doing it.
In the apartment, I was doing dishes when you didn't live with me.
Okay.
I lived in the apartment for what? 6 months?
Yeah, maybe less than that. It was one semester
That was before my first rehab.
That was when things got bad.
Yeah.
That was when
I always had a case of beer.
we
a
were
day.
having 5 o'clock practices, 5 a.m. practices, and so I'm like up at like 4:15, and waking up, and you're on the couch like, it wasn't drunk from the night before. It was just like, how
Still
many
going.
days can I stay fucked up?
Yeah. Well, I was also on Adderall then. My drug history is really fucking weird.
Yeah, you really did bounce around. I think we're gonna take a quick break. I gotta pee. You want to smoke, and then we'll come on for like another 15 minutes and
Do I
close out
wrap
the
it
show.
up? Wrap it up? I guess. Yeah, let's do that.
All right. Sorry for that little break. I do just want to start off by saying this is our first podcast, so do bear with us. We're going to be working through the
All kinds of stuff.
yeah, all that good stuff. We're going to
But you
make it
could-
more streamlined, easier places for you to find it. Some
Come
of the
along
edits
with us, right?
Yeah,
Come
you're
on the
growing
journey.
with us.
Yeah.
Get on early, because when we get big, you guys are going to be like, dude, I remember when they were nothing in a basement. And I do want to say, we are in the basement of my house. So once again,
Where else would you do a podcast?
yeah,
This
this
is
is
where
basement
you-
talks. Like,
yeah.
this is, basements are where me and Steven grew together.
That was our comfort zone.
It was playing sports, and then it was video games. It's
LAN
nice
parties.
in the LAN. We'll have to get in the LAN
Y'all
parties.
know about LAN parties.
If you don't know, we will have
we'll cue you in.
LAN parties were fun. And I didn't even get to
Now
contribute.
now they do professional LAN parties
Yeah,
where people are
shit.
making money.
Esports.
I was on the forefront of
You
that
were.
shit. And I dropped off just in time to not make
You know, it's
any
funny
money.
because now there's all these esports. When you were gaming hard, Counter-Strike, EverQuest days, Mom was like, stop playing games all
Get
the
to bed.
time.
Get to bed.
There's no future in that. Well,
Guess
turns
what?
out, yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
But yeah, thank to Rachel's and everyone's hard work for our cool backdrops.
This wasn't as easy as we thought it was going to be to set this up.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So anybody who's like judging us, you come set this up.
Yeah, for real. But just to do the plugs, our Twitter account is AML_MEDIA_. We're going to try and maybe make some things simpler for you, but for now, please follow us. We literally are pouring so much work into this.
you got-
Rachel worked all day, helped us set this shit up. So Twitter, AML_MEDIA_. Our Instagram is AML MEDIA_. So it doesn't have that middle underscore. But probably the easiest for you, and I do apologize for any of the coughings or spitting into a bottle. We are degenerates at heart. I chew because I'm a nicotine addict.
You've watched enough podcasts. Plenty of people use a tuner.
I'm trying to get better at it. I do apologize.
I just swallowed it, so
That's nuts. You
yeah.
gut chew.
Yeah.
But the simplest thing, if you're going to remember something, are these two things. Our website is AML.NEWS.BLOG. And from there, you'll be able to access everything. There'll
All
be some
that.
links you can click on. That will be able to take you to our...
That's the hub where you
That's
really
our-
want to go.
So that's the main thing. AML.NEWS.BLOG. You should be able to access everything from there. If you are someone who's kind of an old head...
This guy.
He's not that old, but he refuses to work with social media. If you go to the YouTube.com, I said the YouTube. I am getting old.
Dang.
Yeah, but go to YouTube, and if you go to the search bar there, it's just AML_media_. And for those
That's
of
the
you who
channel.
don't know what the underscore is, it's the button next to 0,
It's a flat line. is
and you
what
have
it
to hit
is.
shift. Okay.
So there's a new YouTube does handles now, like Twitter and Instagram.
Oh, okay.
So that's AML_media_. I'm not sure what happens if you just type in the search bar. I would assume that it comes up too, but that's YouTube handle is.
Now, if you went to YouTube and you searched You Be Aight Man, could
You
we
know what? I haven't tried. I don't know if there's any other podcasts out there with that name.
I mean, it's pretty random. I don't know.
We're gonna work on it.
Yeah.
But go to our website. All
Just
of our
try.
links are going to be there.
If you like the content,
Get on board.
or if you want to make suggestions or anything like that, we're
Come talk
open
shit.
to it.
Right?
Yeah, we've been.
I heard it all.
Yeah, I've heard it all. You're
I've
not
been in
going to
the
hurt
gutter,
anyone's
okay?
feelings. We do appreciate if you've watched this long, so thank you guys very much. But AML Media, literally, we had a search through all of things. We put underscores in there because AML, Alberta Marie Labordi, meant that much to us that we decided we can't go any other way. But from there, we're going to close out, just give you a couple laughs. We have 2 stories for you. And then we'll close it, kind of end
we'll
it
wrap it
there
up.
from there.
Yeah,
And
I mean, there's plenty to come.
we're going to do a lot. We have some time on our hands. We're not sure how often, but if you guys want more, or if you want less, let us know. We'll work from there. But we'll start, Steven.
Okay. Let me
Give you
tell a
some
quick little
stories.
story.
Paint a little picture
This
for
is,
us.
I want to bring you guys in, okay, to what life has been. And it's a pretty recent story, actually.
So this is a whole life up until 3 years ago.
They're getting it. So we go to, what was it, North Carolina?
No.
Maryland.
Deep Creek.
Deep Creek,
Creek,
Maryland,
Maryland.
where you can rent some really cool houses
Beautiful.
off season. And my
Beautiful.
mom always loved cabin type of stuff.
Yeah.
So we found this perfect place.
She's sick at the time.
Yeah,
so
we're
this is
just
a big
finding
deal.
out.
Gene and Rachel are traveling from Pittsburgh. We're traveling from Philadelphia. And we're meeting up at Deep Creek. Is that how it went? It doesn't
Yes,
matter.
yeah.
So at this time, Mom's real sick. We know it's not a good outlook. And we made it a point to get together as much as we possibly could. So we're in Deep Creek.
We didn't do that many vacations.
Not
so
growing
this was a big deal for us.
No, yeah.
And Mom wanted to go there because there
She
was
went
black
all out.
bears. Yeah, she spent
And
a lot
she saw
of money.
a bear. She saw a
She
bear.
did get to see a bear. That was
So
awesome.
she spent way too much money on this house. But that's okay. That was her thing. She was never worried about saving money when it came to family stuff.
True.
Which is beautiful. Anyway, my dad had just started taking Suboxone again for the first time in like a year or two.
Yeah.
He was off him for a while. He was a miserable prick.
He was just, throughout his life, he was always struggling, so it's just
It's okay
flip-flopping.
to need
Yeah.
a crutch. He's way better on the Suboxone than he is off. When he was just off everything, but I think maybe like antidepressant or some shit, he was the worst. This
Just
man was
literally a black cloud over everybody.
just miserable and weird. He was creeping through people's stuff. He went into my car once and opened my wallet to see how much money I had in it to make sure.
You want to hear more? I'll tell you this as a viewer. Just keep listening to hear more about this guy, because I've been told my whole life you need to tell stories about this man, because
he's an anomaly. You don't
come across this type of man who has been able to successfully survive into his 60s.
just skating through life with
Yeah,
no
lucky.
real.
But-
But anyway, so we're in Deep Creek. Beautiful house. We're all enjoying each other.
I mean, we had a shuffleboard table in there. We had all these movies
We had the
ready
baseball
to
gloves.
watch.
We're having a catch.
We have
We're watching old movies.
yard games, all this stuff. My mom, we have this big kitchen. She's
Right.
cooking up all her favorites for her son's
she loved cooking for us. But so the first morning there.
The first morning
there.
And this actually is before. I got to correct you. This is before we got the bad news. Mom got that call.
We still had some hope then.
Yeah, we didn't know that it was pancreatic cancer at that time.
Really? Okay.
And on top of it, I will give the man this, my father, his dad, who I'm named after, Eugene Labordi, which we didn't talk about the decoys. My grandfather was awesome. He would make these. He's been in books and won all these contests of making decoy ducks. Just
this
a great
was a
artist
block of wood
that he carved and painted. But so that was my dad's best friend. And he was just getting now put on hospice. He was like, we knew things weren't
my
going
father's
good.
father.
Yes.
Correct. So this was
everything was actually
stuff.
good up until this point.
We knew
there was some stuff coming down the road, but it wasn't like we heard the bad news, then this event happened.
Yeah, this was so
day one of a good vacation.
Day one, my dad wakes up early. He's feeling good. He's back on Suboxone for maybe a month. He's still feeling like the goodness of it. And the man makes a pot of coffee in a coffee pot he was not familiar with. And he makes a shitty pot of coffee with coffee grounds in it. It's way too strong.
Like everything.
Like
he
everything
wanted it
go
as
all
strong
in.
as he possibly could.
So he makes this, his first cup of coffee, and I make a cup of coffee, and it's terrible. It's not drinkable. I said, I'm dumping this out. I'll make a fresh pot. Mind you, at this point, he's got a heaping 20-ounce cup of coffee in his hand. He's drinking it. This is his style, so he's drinking it.
And like we've talked about, he can't, if it's a 20-ounce, he's putting 19.5 ounces of coffee before creamer. So it's always has to be filled to the brim.
Right.
No matter whether it's cereal, soup, or coffee, he's going to make a mess carrying it.
Right. So I make a fresh pot of coffee, and it's normal coffee, like people like to drink. And before anybody can get any, there's 5 of us, at least 3 of us are drinking coffee. The man dumps out his entire cup of coffee he made
the previous shitty coffee,
and fills the entire cup back up with the fresh coffee I had just made for normal folks.
For everybody.
And without it, like, maybe I should make sure everybody else gets some, this is his classic behavior. And when you have a history with somebody like this, I see it coming. It's irking the shit out of me before we even talk about it. So he fills his cup up. He's got his mug in his hand, all smug. This motherfucker just took half the pot of coffee that I just made. And I don't know what the hell was going on, but he was real shaky and shit. Could have been the I don't know what the hell it was. This man, he's got
you never
all kinds
know what
of
you're
problems.
gonna get.
And he's like shaking and shit. And I said something to him along the lines like, mind if any of us have some of the coffee? And he said something back to me a little like, because he always felt like I was picking on him. This is a whole thing. We'll get into it. But him and I have a troubled history. So
I'll just say this. It's oil and water. And keep in mind, this is a 68-year-old man at the time. Somewhere around that.
going on 17.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's always
just a greedy,
acted like he's way older, like since he was 40.
Let me finish the story, because we're going to get into all this stuff. So he's shaking. The coffee's spilling out of the cup because, like you said, it's topped off all the way. And it's coming out of the, like, you put the lid on, and there's a little drinking spout. There's coffee coming out of the lid, okay? So me and him, he's on the defense because I mentioned that he's taken all the coffee. And he says, something back to me. And I'm just like, at this point, you need to hear this. I said, dude, you're a fucking mess. And his reaction, with everybody there, is to punch me in my face. I mean, you witnessed it.
This is why I brought his age up. So he was 68 years old, did not take care of his body his whole life. He was at one point a badass dude. He was, I know what you're saying. As far as, He rode a motorcycle. The dude got in bar fights back when that was acceptable. His move was to just make the first punch. And he's got heavy hands to him. He swung a hammer for a long time in his life. But he's feeble now at this point. So he got angry enough. In his mind, he goes, I can drop my son now for saying the most minimal thing. But he doesn't have it anymore. So he swings on you, hits you in the face just enough to go, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Like, I was in shock that he went that low.
Didn't knock you out.
What a bad look, right?
Yeah, it's just like, it's one of those things where words would have hurt worse, but he didn't have the words, so he goes, I'm gonna do the only thing I know how to do and just...
Let's turn an ugly situation into a total shit show by swinging on your son in front of the family about a coffee comment. So, needless to say, I don't even remember. I didn't swing back. I didn't lay a hand on him. It was so embarrassing.
You stepped back because I remember going, oh shit, he didn't even see stars because
no, it was
10 years before that,
he might have did a little damage.
He might have done some damage. But he's old and feeble and has only sat, smoked cigarettes, and watched Fox News for the last 12 years at this point.
Rachel, you witnessed this event, correct?
Yeah, I was.
And what was your thoughts?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Rachel's not. Yeah.
That was something that I have never.
No comment.
Yeah.
Right. There's no words.
Ridiculous.
And if once you know my dad and some of his history, you're just like, dude, this is pathetic. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So we don't talk for the rest of the day. I just walk away. I don't even.
And actually, at this point, I wasn't there. Mom told me about it.
We heard like something hit the floor.
Yeah, we heard commotion, and because I'm a late sleeper, we'll get into. But so I wake up, and Rachel or Mom tells me Dad hit Steve in the face over a cup of coffee, and we're on. Once again, my mom's overspending money, and we're finally having this great fucking trip that we like.
Obnoxious what this man had done.
And he's punching my brother in the face day one of the thing over coffee. And I told my dad, because he is guilty. So, like...
He's a constant guilt.
Like, an hour after that, he's, like, not feeling good. He's like, what did I fucking do?
Up. Yeah.
And I went and told him, I said, that shit happens again, I will swing.
Yeah, because you're a hothead. I can imagine you swinging. I mean...
Well, I never have, but I said... If something like that ever happens again, I'll guarantee I'm going to be the one who ends it, and you're going to put me in jail and you in the hospital, because this is ridiculous. Like, we
just got here, man.
Used all our PTO, all of our money to do this, and everything's perfect, and a fucking pot of coffee this isn't 6 o'clock in the morning.
No.
This is 11 o'clock in the afternoon, because we
Right.
like to sleep in. We're having a good time.
The selfishness is what I had to say something.
And that's the thing.
I do have a sharp tongue.
Because you have put up with so long and you know how to handle it. When I deal with that, I just either get really loud immediately or I go, I wish you were younger so we could actually fight.
Right.
But so for you, you know how to hurt him. You go, you're being a fucking idiot. And he goes, I can't handle it.
You can't handle comments.
And just throw this old man fist at you. I can only imagine the speed of the
I
fist.
said, you're a fucking mess, dude. I said it with gumption. But yeah, so he swung on me. It ruined a day. And then, I get over things. It was whatever. This guy's always been
Yeah, I'm
pathetic.
glad he swung on you. Because if he swung on me, like, that whole trip would have been done.
Yeah. So I'm just like,
Yeah, we're like, because we had this awesome, like, this was like a 7-bedroom house.
Yeah.
And so we were like, you came downstairs and we were just watching movies.
Yeah, I get over it.
And
from him anyway. It's like, dude, you're pathetic, and that's how it is. Okay, so that's insight into a vacation we went on.
And I added this because we said we were going to each tell a quick story, but we have to talk about Kitchen Detective because this ties perfectly into it.
Yeah.
So I'll set it up because I find it so funny. That perfect situation, not perfect, but that situation has happened in so many minor ways where fists weren't thrown.
But I said something that he just couldn't handle.
It's the perfect example of in our house, like most normal middle American houses, is the kitchen's kind of the center of the house when commotion's going on there.
Yeah, there's enough space.
But specifically for Steven, anytime he would go into the kitchen,
he would show up.
My dad's space, the back porch, you could see into there, and he would just have to come and see what the hell's going on.
He was always worried about what I'm doing, and that's been a theme throughout.
God forbid Steven's eating some mozzarella sticks that he doesn't know about or something like that.
Whatever it is. He just has to know.
It could be as simple as grabbing a banana, and my dad goes, well, now I need 2 bananas.
That's how little this guy has going on, that me in the kitchen is breaking news.
But one time, and I think I was in high school, I think when it happened, our kitchen just got redone. Steven's in there doing something, and then my dad walks in, and Steven called which is still today is one of the best things.
We still use this term.
Called my dad the kitchen detective.
Yep.
And
poignantly, right? Posed.
And as funny as that is, if my dad was side by side, he might have thrown a punch. The way he reacted, he got butthurt.
Yeah, he was
over
livid.
kitchen detective
because it was true.
It's one of those things. Yeah, it's true because it's true, and he got called out on it. And I think that might have lasted a couple of months of actual anguish.
Yeah, there was friction there for sure. Because it was
one of those things that even years ago, you would be like, I dare you to go upstairs and tell Dad he's a kitchen detective.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, no, fuck that. I'd rather call him a cocksucker than call him a kitchen detective.
I mean, still, if I brought it up, he would probably be like, you're always fucking with me, Steve.
Which is funny because he likes practical jokes a little bit, and you've always done practical jokes.
Yeah.
Which is another quick... Daddy used to always get these cookie bars from Wawa. Shout out Wawa. And it's just like, it's like a granola size, but it was just a cookie bar.
Yeah, they're actually banging.
They are delicious. But he'd get
Tasty
like
cake.
8 of them at a time. But in his fashion, he'd hide them all around the house.
All around the freezer.
Yeah, he always loved his treats frozen.
If you want something sweet at my folks' home, you dig in the freezer.
Yeah. Which, for some things, is a good move.
Right.
But that was his way. Yeah, and because he's taller than my mom, like any paraphernalia or whatever, it was hidden high. So just check the high point of the freezer, and you're going to find some treats around my dad. But the one time you took I think it was... a Tupperware container, filled it up with water, and put the cookie bar in there, and you weighed it down somehow where it perfectly was a frozen block of ice that you could visibly see the cookie bar in there.
Forgot about that.
And in the middle, like 3 o'clock in the morning, everyone's sleeping in the house, and all you can hear is somebody with a butcher knife stabbing an ice block in the sink, motherfucker, and come down to him losing his mind over the fact that he can't get to this cookie bar fast enough.
It was perfect, right?
Great prank.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, which you've always had that funny prankness to you. So that was a quick story. Another one just to lighten it up of me and Steven's relationship a little bit. Once again, Steven's 6 years older than me. He was a big fella when he was in 12th grade, I was in 6th grade. And I wasn't small. I was big for my age, but compared to a monster, I always called it was David versus Goliath. Because we liked to hang out with each other and play games that we couldn't evenly play.
I always invented the game mostly, and it was, you're going to have to overcome an impossible task.
Which we a lot of it. So, our first house, Main Street, Humeville. First of all, shout out Humeville.
Great
cool-ass
town.
place. We'll talk about the history of our old house. But we had this huge yard with a bunch of trees. And with my mom being the clean freak she was, we had to have like a leafless yard during the fall. And we're in Pennsylvania.
Which is impossible.
Yeah, so we get a lot of leaves. But we would work our ass off all day while my dad is just...
cutting a hole in the fence.
Making up some job he has to do so he doesn't have to rake leaves. So it's me and him.
He started that early, by the way.
We'll have to talk about cutting a hole in the fence.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
So we'd rake this gigantic, and which we could have done it way easier, but we're like, if we're going to do it, let's have some fun.
Let's make a game out of it.
So I'm talking about when we got done, we had a pile of leaves.
That was like nose level.
To you, like to me at that age, it was taller than me. And so like, you know, near that you feel indestructible. So we would just play this game when we're done. There'd be the pile of leaves in the center. Steven would be on one side. I'd be on the other side. We'd throw a football into the middle of it and then just rush.
Right.
If you've ever seen videos of what they do at metal shows, the death wall, it basically was that, but just for two people.
Right.
And we're talking about
one significantly bigger than the other.
100 and maybe 50 pounds at that age, which would have been a fat little kid.
I don't think that's a big exaggeration. I
But
think
yeah,
it's pretty
somewhere
close
around
to
that to 300 pounds. And there was a pile of leaves, so we're like, how can you get hurt?
It's a natural cushion.
Never got a broken bone, but I've seen stars playing that game.
Yeah.
And just being a little kid wanting to be involved, I would get my bell rung, shake it off, and be like, all right, let's play again.
I have to say, as far as sports go, not sport in the activity, but as being a good sport, you're the best sport there's ever been. You would play any game I came up with, as dangerous as it might be for you. You were always down.
And it was, if I ever got invited with you and your friends, I was like, yeah, I'm willing to die to hang out this afternoon.
Yeah,
I mean, we'd play football, and they wouldn't throw me the ball. I was just, go stand in the way
Tell
of
them
somebody.
about the knee football now.
So, yeah, so now we're going to get into, which actually was a very well-designed game. We, at one point, had big couches that the back cushions and the seating cushions came off. And we had this gigantic, wide-open basement in our new house. And it was concrete slab. So there was a possibility of some serious injury. But what we would do is just, my mom always had fancy blankets. We had 100 comforters. So we just grab a bunch of blankets, everything we could get our hands on.
Transform the
Put it on the floor, and we had this new age type of turf that at least gave us a little bit of padding.
You could call it that.
And then a shit ton of pillows and everything you could. And we would just basically, it was like Oklahoma drill.
Yeah, it was like Oklahoma drill meets like actual NCAA wrestling. Because it was, you can't get much distance between
It wasn't
two people
big enough
on your knees.
So Steven would get on his knees, which would be the same height as me. And it was just hut hike. And just a mound of pillows, and basically every ending was just me running, and then you picking me up and slamming me on pillows. But that game was so much fun. I remember telling that game to kids in my neighborhood, and them being like, "I want to play," and I'd be like, "No, that's my special
You
game."
have to sign a waiver.
And I'd be like, "Your parents will probably not let you back in my house."
That game caught on with my friends though, because we were like in middle school at that point. So, like, me and my friend Barry and Frankie, we used to play knee football in Barry's basement.
And we would play versions of it, too, because even, like, at Aunt Dot, and Uncle Gene's house, shout out. Aunt Dot is, and
best.
Joey, love, man. If you hear this, we send our love to you and the newborn. But it just evolved into little kid versus not grown ass dudes, but large men on their knees, and we'd play in the backyard. Like I remember it was like, oh, the ground, it rained yesterday, so it's soft enough we can play knee football out back.
I think I had a bit of a genius when it came to inventing football type games, because they were
any
always
type of sports games, because I have said I played goalie in lacrosse for quite a long time, and at the collegiate level, I have quick hands for saving a ball by getting myself hurt. Early, when at the old house, when Dad built that closet, that big ass closet, it was perfectly like a goal. So we always had a million pillows on the
and any type
on the
of
bed.
ball.
So I would put my legs and arms inside the pillowcases, so I had
like
kind of
goalie
some
pads.
arms, and we'd shove a pillow up under my shirt. And at one point, it was just a newspaper that you rolled real tight with whatever ball we could find and smack it at me from 3 feet away.
Some hybrid weird sport, but
that was fun.
It was
awesome. I
awesome.
think that's how
They're
I got
fond
my quick
memories.
That's
right?
how I got my quick twitch muscle. I think
Yeah.
to play goalie.
So if you got boys out there, let them play. Let them roughhouse. Okay.
Bruises go away, but memories and muscle memory don't go away.
Yeah, for real, and let your kids play football. Big
Let your
football
kids play
fans.
football.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. Oh,
8-0.
yeah. So, I guess to end it, give us a little. Obviously, we are big Philadelphia Eagles. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Our Phillies.
We'll have to sing
The
fight
Fightins.
song.
They gave their best. We
Tough
went to
loss.
the World Series.
The better team won.
The better team won, and we weren't even supposed to be there, and we showed up and gave hundreds of thousands of people great memories.
Hell yeah. And
Like,
the
we weren't even
Astros were undefeated in the playoffs.
We
took
weren't even
2.
supposed to be in this World Series, and we put it together just perfectly. Our Flyers are doing okay. Sixers.
I don't know what's going on there.
Joel, I know you're probably listening to this. Joel Embiid and everybody, get it together. We need good basketball.
Yeah, Harden's
please.
down. So.
Harden's he's gonna come. He was playing good. He's gonna come back good. Maxey is
Maxey's a
this
beast.
gem we got, dude. Maxey, keep it
But
up.
it's got to translate to wins, man.
It's got to translate to wins.
But we'll get into sports probably every podcast
A little bit. We gotta give that love. Besides that,
why don't you plug the website one more time?
yeah. So website AML.NEWS.BLOG. That could direct you to everything you need. Our Instagram, AML Media _, Twitter, AML _media _. Besides that, that's really all we have for now.
I just want to thank the person who's listening to this for letting us emote and get some stuff out. We got so much to unpack here.
And I hope this is so cathartic
There you go.
to us. We enjoy it. Thank you, Rachel, for doing all this stuff. You guys don't realize how much work we put into this, but we really enjoy it. I hope we get some listeners. Tell some of your friends about it, even if they watch a couple minutes. I don't want to say smash the what do they say,
the
Rachel?
like button.
Smash the follow.
What?
I don't know. We're so
You're
out of it.
making up terms.
No,
they-
I've heard that.
They say smash the like button or
Yes.
smash the follow.
Oh.
You guys don't have to do that. We're not in this for the money.
Subscribe.
We all work
Obviously.
jobs and do the shit, but we do this for fun. Hope we can get some entertainment. To end it, Rachel, who's your favorite Eagle currently?
Jason Kelsey.
Yeah, well
Jason
done.
Kelsey. The pinnacle of my life is if we could ever even video Skype the Kelsey brothers. For
Don't
the
hold your
podcast.
breath, but
We'll get there.
The brother podcast thing is catching on.
Yeah, they're
the,
brothers.
The
we're
Long
brothers.
brothers, Chris Long and Kyle Long, they have a podcast now. We're right up there with them.
Maybe
We're
they'll
brothers.
hear your podcast, and then they'll want to be guests.
That would be.
I'm gonna write that on a piece of paper and tuck it under my pillow.
Yeah, so we had a fun. I would do this for 7 more hours if I thought people would hear it.
Yeah, we got to cut it off so people will actually listen to it without being like these guys.
Yeah, AML.NEWS.BLOG. Please listen. Shout out to all of my LaRoche boys. Shout out to Philly. Love you, Mom, Pops. You
be
gave us
aight,
great
man.
stories.
You Be Aight. Remember
You
the
Be
name of the
Aight.
podcast. You Be Aight, man.
Oh, that's one. You Be Aight is commonly spelled You, Gonna, Gonna.
No, it's just You Be Aight.
Correct.
I was wrong. I'm a big enough man to admit You Be Aight, but the Aight is AIGHT.
Correct, sir.
Love you guys. Thank you for listening.
See you next time.